So if DVG were alive today, would he just shake his head at our existential dread or write a whole new Kaga?
Honestly, these verses feel like they were made exactly for moments like this. Everything's changing, but the questions stay the same.
Hey, Balor, let us pull up the Kagas and get this set. Hang tight for a minute.
So, last time we talked about fate and effort. Today, we're zooming out, way out.
Okay, how far out are we talking? Beyond Dharma and Paurusha?
Think cosmic. We're tackling Kagas 9 and 10, which confront the sheer scale and chaos of the universe. By the end of this, you'll see how DVG was framing existential questions back in 1943 that feel incredibly modern. Success today is sitting with that feeling of awe, and maybe a little bit of unease, and seeing it not as a problem, but as a starting point for wisdom.
Let's start with Kaga 9. It paints a picture that's both magnificent and, frankly, a bit frightening. I'll read the English translation. What a terrifying play, this cosmic rotation.
Whoa, terrifying play? That's a strong start. It reminds me of the Maya Lola or cosmic illusion we discussed in the very first verses, but this sounds more active, more violent.
Exactly. The Kannada word is Bhairava Lile. Bhairava is a fierce form of Shiva, and Lile means play. So it's the fierce, powerful, destructive, creative play of a god. It continues. What a frenzy of elemental dances! What spheres of fire! What depths! What a wondrous creation!
So it's this huge, chaotic, beautiful, but scary dance of elements. Stars being born, galaxies colliding, that kind of thing?
That's precisely it. He's using this powerful, almost overwhelming imagery to force us to confront the nature of the universe. It isn't a calm, orderly place. It's a frenzy. It's full of spheres of fire and incomprehensible depths. But, and this is key, it ends with, what a wondrous creation.
So he's holding both feelings at once, the terror and the wonder.
That's the core of it. Let's try a quick exercise. Close your eyes and just picture that. Spheres of fire, elemental dances. What does that feeling, that scale, actually evoke in you?
Okay. Honestly, it makes me feel small, really small, like a tiny speck of dust in the middle of this cosmic storm. It's not necessarily bad, just humbling.
Humbling is the perfect word. And that's exactly where DVG wants to take us. He strips away our self-importance, first by showing us the grand, indifferent machinery of the cosmos. He doesn't offer comfort. He just says, look at this. Really look.
It feels like he's setting the stage for something. You don't start with that kind of cosmic shock and awe unless you're about to ask a really big question.
And you are absolutely right, because that is exactly what he does in Kaga 10. He brings the camera crashing down from the cosmos right into the human heart.
So, after showing us the terrifying cosmic dance, Kaga 10 shifts focus dramatically. It begins. What is this world? What sieges? What a tremendous power! The world is giving everyone mighty shots again and again.
Sieges und mightige Schutzes? So we've gone from the cosmic to the personal. This sounds like the daily struggle, the feeling of being constantly battered by life.
Yes, he's saying, okay, in the context of that universe we just saw, what is this human experience of struggle and strife? And then he drops the core existential questions. Even then, what is this man's goal? What's his value? What is the end of all this? What does this mean?
Wow. Okay. So this is what you meant by modern existentialism. He's basically asking, what's the point? If the universe is this giant, chaotic machine, what is the purpose of one small person's life and goals?
Precisely. These are the same questions philosophers like Camus were wrestling with in Europe around the same time. The feeling of absurdity, the search for meaning in a world that doesn't seem to offer any prepackaged answers. DVG is arriving at it from a Vedantic perspective, but the human dilemma is universal.
So, this feeling of what's my purpose or does any of this matter isn't just a modern 21st century anxiety, it's a fundamental question Diogede saw as essential.
It's the central question. After you've understood the scale of reality, you're forced to ask what your own, seemingly tiny, scale is all about.
Now, the verse ends in a way that can trip people up. The translation concludes, "Nothing is known, everything is vague."
Well, that's not very encouraging. It sounds a bit like he's just giving up, like it's all a big, meaningless mess.
And that's the common misconception. It's easy to read that as nihilism, but in DVG's broader philosophy, this isn't an endpoint of despair. It's a statement of intellectual humility. It's not saying there is no meaning, but that meaning isn't obvious or easily known.
Wait, so it's less everything is pointless and more we don't have the answers handed to us.
Exactly. Think back to our episode on embracing uncertainty. This vagueness is the space where inquiry, philosophy, and spirituality begin. If the answers were simple, there'd be no need for 900 more verses. He's clearing the slate, saying, don't assume you know. Let's start from a place of honest not knowing.
That makes so much more sense. So the vagueness isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the necessary condition for a genuine search for meaning, rather than just accepting a pre-written answer.
You got it. That's the whole journey. So to recap, DVG uses these two verses as a 1-2 punch. First, Kaga 9 forces us to look up at the cosmos and feel that humbling mix of terror and wonder.
Right. The Bhairava Lile, the terrifying cosmic play.
Then, Kaga 10 immediately turns that gaze inward, asking the great existential questions in the face of that cosmic indifference. What is my goal? What is my value? What is the meaning of it all?
And he concludes, not with an answer, but with an admission that the answers are vague, which is an invitation to begin the search ourselves.
Perfect. So for your practice this week, I have some cosmic homework. Find a time, maybe at night, to just look at the sky. Or, if you can't, look at a photo from the Webb telescope. Let yourself feel the awe and the smallness from Kaga 9. Then, just sit with the questions from Kaga 10. Don't try to answer them, just let them be there. Notice what that feels like.
Okay, so the goal isn't to solve the meaning of life in a week. It's just to get comfortable asking the question.
That's the entire practice. The courage to ask is the first step on the path.